I get one.
know what God will do when you are going through. He'll show you faithfulness. I'm a witness. He has delivered me from where I used to be. I am truly.
Can I get a
Good evening, everybody. How y'all doing? Look, I'm not even going to wait for people to come in here. I'm going to just start talking because I really want to emphasize the importance of my Dearborne Child. And I think in order to do that, I have to be able to explain what it is, although I've said it, multiple times in different ways, but I think I just want to give a little bit more clarity as to what it is. I apologize for the lighting in advance, but it's dim right now. Okay, so what is my Dearborne Child? So most of you know that it is a ministry that is geared towards fatherless women. And when I say fatherless women, I am aiming towards women who do not have a father in their life. So that would be you lost your father, through death. It would be your father is currently incarcerated, so he's not present in your life. It would be that, he's just absent from your life. You don't know who your father is at all, or maybe you guys don't have a good connection. You may have your father in your life, but he is emotionally unavailable, or he might be dealing with some mental health issues that is really impeding on his ability to bond with you. So these are all examples, but it's not limited to that. That's first and foremost. So on this page, I aim to, but not only talk to women who are fatherless, and I interview them on Sundays at 6 p.m. And so the interviews, there's no length and time of interviews. I've only had 2, and one was like an hour and another one was around 30 minutes. So it all depends. The goal of my Dearborne Child, sorry, I'm reading off the paper. I want to stay on task here. The goal of my Dearborne Child is to help you to identify possible daddy issues that you have. Now, I will say that I am 33 years old, and it wasn't until probably last year that I really was kind of privy to knowing that I had daddy issues. I didn't know I had daddy issues because I was very close with my father despite his mental health issues that he had. However, once I began to unpack some things, I realized that a lot of the behaviors that I've exhibited in the past were due to daddy issues. In fact, next week I'm going to start a series called Daddy Issues, and I'm going to highlight some symptoms of possible issues that you may have that are, directly correlated to your relationship with your father. So that'll be next week. But it's the goal of my Dearborne Child is to help you identify the issues and get to a place of healing. Now, the women that I interview, they will be sharing their process of things that they have gone through, the relationship or lack thereof that they have had with their father. However, over time, they will take us through this journey on how they got to a place of healing. That's what my Dearborne Child is. It's a place of healing. What it is not is a therapy session. I am not operating in any type of therapeutic capacity, although I hear people say, wow, Vanessa, after we had that conversation or after we had that interview, it feels very therapeutic. I feel relieved, refreshing. I am not going to take, I cannot take the credit for that. I believe that is nothing but God. And I just think that, he just comes in, he's using me as a vessel, and that's simply that. So I am not acting as a therapist, okay? So I always, and that'll help me segue into my next thing, which is, if you are interested in being interviewed for my Dearborne Child, the first thing is that I'm going to send you an email. The email is going to be asking you some questions. The questions help me to assess whether I believe you are in a place of healing that you are able to share this with somebody else. The last thing I want is that you get on Facebook Live and we're in an interview and it is clear that you are still broken, you are not healed from your daddy issues, and you are in need of being meeting with a therapist or a mental health professional. So I really want to make sure, and I'm not saying you have to be whole and completely healed, because I'm still going through healing, but I am able to assess whether or not it will be a good time for you to be able to share your story, So I might say to you, hey sis, come back now, come back at a different time or a later time, or I can help you work through this, and then you can come back and you can share your story, because I want you to be comfortable. So after that, after I send you the questions, I'm able to assess whether or not you are in a good place to be able to share your story. I want you to know that it is going to be on Facebook Live. My friends are going to be able to see the interview. Your friends and family are going to be able to see the interview. So what I am saying to you is, if you are not comfortable with sharing your story, please don't. Because people, listen, I have gotten over probably close to 300 views on my first interview. I mean, people share this. And I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm not saying this to deter you. I'm just letting you know that it goes far beyond the reach of my friends and your friends, It even I'm believing God that it's going to have the potential one day to go viral. So you have to be open to other people being in your business, seeing what you're going to share. And I always ask to just use caution, and don't share anything that you're not comfortable with. I would never force you to share something you're not comfortable in sharing. Also, I want to add to that is that, I want you to be at a point where you really don't care what anybody has to say. It's your story. You know the relationship or lack thereof that you've had with your dad, and nobody can tell you what that is. And so I really want to just come against that spirit of fear and hesitation, and really encourage you to just push past that and do it. So, it's not easy. It's not even easy for me right now to be talking on Facebook Live, because I hate this. Like, I'd rather do pre-recorded, and that's just that, but that's not what God is telling me to do. So I got to keep going forward. Now, I'm also going to ask you during the application process, what do you want people to take away from your story? Okay, you told your testimony. Now what? What can they take away from you? If it's forgiveness, how can you help somebody to forgive? What tips would you give them? What did you go through? The pitfalls. So it's not just going to be you're telling your story, but there has to be a takeaway. I want people to walk away from watching this interview and saying, wow, that really helped me to dig a little deeper. I thought that I forgave so-and-so, but I'm realizing after watching this interview that I'm still not in a place of forgiveness. So that's just an example. So that's basically it for right now that I have on my paper. But I am also looking for more women to interview coming into the new year. And so I'm really hoping that you guys are sharing this video and speaking to your friends and family. Or even if, you watch this video and you're like, wow, I think I'm ready to be interviewed, please let me know. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have pre-planned questions. People ask me that all the time. I use the Holy Spirit to guide me and what I'm going to ask you. I will ask you questions on that application that I send you to gauge, and you can say, hey, I don't want to talk about this. And I definitely will not talk about something that you're not comfortable with. But outside of that, I just ask questions. So that's basically it. That's all I have to say. And wrapping up, tomorrow I have an interview at 6:00 p.m. where I will be interviewing a young lady. She will be talking about grief, the passing of her stepfather, whom she was very close with, as well as learning how to forgive her biological father, who was incarcerated. So I really hope you guys support us tomorrow, encourage us, and tune in, and even share the video. So thank you for watching and